do you think?
Well, Larry, I just say, I guess that night is just one of those nights I wish I could just take back, and I really regret, and I feel totally ashamed of what I did.
It never happened to you before?
No.
How did Rihanna react to all of this?
I don't know. I mean,
what did she say to you?
I mean, well, we talked briefly after, but I don't want to really go in. I don't want to, like I said before, because of her personal and my personal, I don't want to say what conversations we had on the phone, but we just basically tried to work it out.
Did it matter whether she pressed charges or not?
No, in California it really doesn't. There are exceptions. I mean, it's not like they can take her and put her in jail if she doesn't press charges or anything like that. They've changed the law in that respect. However, there are plenty of cases where the DA prosecutes in this county, in LA County, and they don't have anybody. I've actually seen cases where they've tried the case without the complaining witness or the victim. So they don't need to. And part of the problem when you ask about, Chris, you know, the specific incidents, things like that, you know, the law was originally designed, and still is, that the complaining witness or the victim is not supposed to be identified, precisely so that there won't be these questions, so they don't have to kind of relive it. And
that would have been impossible.
In this case, you know, it would have been impossible, I suppose, but, you know, she's kind of in an unfair position by virtue of the fact that she isn't cloaked with the anonymity that you normally get in these kinds of cases. And he's embraced that and said he doesn't want to violate that, and I respect him.
But his own actions should be explained, don't you think?
Well, you know, he's explained them in detail to his lawyer, he's explained them in detail to his mom, and he's explained them in detail to her. This is his
kind of television.
Right, I understand, but I don't know that, I don't know, and I think out of respect for her and her family, I think it makes more sense for him not to get into it. If she wants to talk about it, that's her prerogative. I don't think it's his.
All right, then we'll discuss after the incident. Without going back to the incident. Be right back.
Allegations have already cost Brown major endorsements. Wrigley dropped him as a pitchman, so did the Got Milk campaign, with both citing what they call serious allegations. The story has also stunned the hip-hop community. In a radio interview, Kanye West was quick to come to Rihanna's side.
Rihanna is so important to our culture, to you know, pop music. In that sense, I feel like that's my baby sis, and I would do any and everything to help her in any situation.
Two superstars used to headlines, but not like this.
I just want to cover this because you said, according to the probation report, Chris, there were at least 2 other incidents of domestic violence between you and Rihanna before the February 8th assault. Neither was ever reported to authorities. Why?
Because, I don't know.
You think it never happened?
Yeah, I'm not aware of those incidents.
It says the first incident took place last year in Europe. A verbal dispute, you shoved her into a wall in Europe, and according to the probation report, the second incident took place in Barbados, driving in a car again, and you got out of the car and broke the front driver and passenger side windows. Are those false reports? Was that in the probation?
That was in the probation report.
Well, that means the probation officer learned that, right?
No, I think what the probation officer did was take something that he saw in another report. I don't think that in fact, I'm positive that if you look at the probation report, he never spoke to Rihanna, nor was there a statement that was delivered.
Are you saying it never happened then?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have, especially of those of that nature, like, like as an actual couple, like, we have disputes and arguments, but it never got to the extent that I got to this point.
Did you have major differences?
No,
I mean, for a 20-year-old, what would be a major difference? What lollipop are we going to get tomorrow?
I know, right? But it's not really really wasn't ever, like, our relationship was pretty good. Like, we had a pretty sturdy and great relationship.
Did you how did you think of them as a couple, Joyce?
I mean, I liked Rihanna as a couple. Together, fine. He's my kid, and she was like a child to me as well. She was like my daughter to me. I mean,
so it wouldn't have shocked you if they had gone on together and eventually married?
It wouldn't have. I mean, we spent Christmas together and did other things together. It was a relationship between 2 young people.
When you talked to Rihanna after it?
When did I talk to her?
You talked to her, what was her attitude?
I just actually spoke to her, and it was the same. It wasn't any different, no animosity towards me.
No animosity?
No, no. To Mom, I love you, and I said I love you as well.
She calls your mom?
Yeah.
Do you, when you look at at what happened, and we know the stories that when you grow up with violence, later violence occurs. Do you ever say to yourself that that's how I can piece this together?
No.
He was subjected to it as a kid?
I don't really say that because I don't believe that just because someone was abused and someone saw it, they're going to actually be an abuser. It can happen, but I can't say that for sure for every case because it's not the case.
So then this is completely mind-boggling to you.
It is mind-boggling to me. Yes, it is. Because I never saw it before this situation. So it's like, wasn't something that's like, oh my God, he's always done
He didn't fight with kids in school?
No.
Kid has scuffles like with guys, but it's never like a domestic dispute between a female and me. Like it's never.
All right. Do you say to yourself, Chris, you know you're a great talent, right? I mean, you know you got a lot of talent.
Thank you.
All right. You're a great dancer, a great singer. You're popular, known all over the world. You ever say to yourself, I screwed up?
All the time. Every day.
I screwed my career.
Every day. Every day. I think this is probably, like I said, probably one of the worst moments in my life, and I always wish like I could take it back. And every day it's just something that sticks in my mind. And I've said countless times how sorry I am to Rihanna, and I just accepted full responsibility. But it's just one of those things I wish I could have relived and just handled totally different.
I promised that we'd ask about after the incident. We will after this. With Chris Brown, Joyce Hawkins, and Mark Garagos. What happened after the incident? It took about 8 hours till you sort of turned yourself in.
Yeah.
What happened then? I mean, those 8 hours.
I mean, those 8 hours, I was basically just going to my mom and really confessing, like, just being totally, like, disappointed in myself and knowing how disappointed she would be in me. And at the same time, just trying to make sure everything was right and just ready to turn myself in.
Were you scared?
Definitely, yes.
You went to see your mom first?
Yes.
Where was this?
I think where we were staying at our hotel.
In L.A.?
Yeah.
You were here visiting?
Actually, was here for the Grammys.
Oh, for the Grammys, right?
Yes.
That's what, Okay, so that you learned about it from your son.
I sure did.
You didn't have to see the pictures or anything?
No, none of that.
Did he tell you everything that happened?
He sure did.
What does a mom say to a son?
I'm there for him no matter what, but when he's wrong, and I will let him know that he is, and I'll try to give him the right advice and tell him how he should not deal with situations at his magnitude of what the situation was.
Were you worried about Rihanna?
I was worried about her, very much so. Wanted to know how she was as well.
You forgive your son because he's your son?
Of course, I would forgive anyone, just not because he's my son. I'm not one to judge anyone.
Well, people do judge in society.
Yeah, well, I don't have that right to do that. I mean,
How do you explain it to yourself then?
How do I explain?
He has trouble explaining it to himself, as I understand. That's hard. We don't always know why we do what we do.
It takes a while, and sometimes you get there, sometimes you don't. But, you know, it's especially difficult when there's all kinds of reports and misreports and things of that nature. I mean, you know, we talked before about the supposed 2 prior incidents, but if you look at what these supposed incidents are, one is where she's supposedly slapping him, and then there's a reaction. The other is a breaking of a glass. Well, that's not domestic violence. Technically, if that happens, it's vandalism. So you've got that. You've got all of these other things that tend to kind of morph into their own urban legends when they aren't necessarily true, when at the same time you're already, as he was, feeling guilty about the whole thing and wanting to apologize and wanting to fall on the sword.
But you understand in modern media, rumors start, people start. I mean, those are all the crazy things.
The problem with this case is the sourcing of it. I mean, there was repeatedly stories where they were patently false, where we would show them that they were patently false, write a letter that they were patently false, and they still wouldn't. They still reported it.
But the one thing not false is what happened that night happened.
And at every point,
you can't escape that.
We continue.